Are you hungry, or rather hangry, only 2 hours after you've had your sweet smoothie or oatmeal with dried fruits, bananas, and peanut butter? Most probably, you'll grab for something sweet or a coffee to get rid of the shakiness, and the cycle continues. When it comes to balanced blood sugar levels throughout the day, breakfast becomes crucial. Once you choose a meal that triggers a blood sugar roller coaster, you won't be able to get off board for the rest of the day. Believe me, I've been there many times. Besides, people also tend to eat more of a sweet breakfast as opposed to savory one, as it takes longer to feel satiated. And it's likely you're addicted to sweet taste if you need to start off your day having something sweet in your mouth. High carb sweet breakfast can also influence how well you sleep at night. Fascinating, isn't it? What should you be eating then? A healthy blood sugar balancing breakfast is mainly made of fiber, fat, and protein. And it is savory or only subtly sweet. Think of the sweetness of wild blueberries. They're almost sour, right? In this video, I'll be making 4 kinds of low glycemic plant-based breakfasts. So let's get on with it. Starting with these delicious sandwiches with avocado mash and the rest of the goodies. First, mash half an avocado with fork. This is the healthy fat part of the meal. Drizzle on some lemon juice, about a teaspoon. Then garlic powder, turmeric. I also added some horseradish powder, black or regular salt, and then mix it all up. Spread the ava mash on 2 slices of whole grain sourdough bread, either store-bought or homemade. I'm using my buckwheat quinoa bread. It counts as both fiber and protein. I personally am in love with fermented tofu for its texture and flavor. And we have both fat and protein. By all means, add as much as you can fit. You might use any tofu, tempeh, edamame mash, or even seitan instead. Here come the extras. Kimchi for tanginess and microgreens for further nutritional boost. And it's ready for savoring. Next up is scrambled tofu plate. We start with preparing the scrambled tofu. Take an extra firm tofu bar and scramble it with your hands. It will take some time, but you'll get there. You might also use a food processor. This is what you prefer. Here we go. And now let's add the spices. Turmeric, smoked paprika, black salt, and garlic powder. Incorporate everything well. Throwing in some sun-dried tomatoes. I used the dry ones that I soaked in water beforehand. If yours are preserved in oil, rinse them thoroughly under hot water. Okay, and now we are ready to cook. Sauté a chopped onion with 2 tablespoons of water for a few minutes, until the onion becomes translucent. Then add the tofu mix into the pot and add some more water. Stir and simmer covered until everything is heated through. Mix in some chopped greens like wild garlic, parsley, green onions, or coriander. If you'd like to go for kale or baby spinach, add it together with the tofu mix and heat for a few minutes. Okay, let's assemble our breakfast plate. Adding some scrambled tofu, shredded red cabbage for extra nutritional boost and antioxidants, and a slice of whole grain sourdough bread with avocado spread. We've got tofu for fat and protein, bread for fiber as well as protein, and avocado for healthy fats. It wouldn't hurt to add some sprouts or microgreens as well. Bon appetit! The third breakfast is my absolute favorite at the moment. You don't need to cook anything, not even a head. Don't need any special equipment, just a bowl and a spoon suffice. It's really a mix and go. Also, it's grain-free and seems to keep me satiated the longest. I start with thawing a cup of wild blueberries. I must admit I use microwave oven, but you can also put them in the fridge the night before. Also, I prefer to mash them up a little to get puree-like consistency. While the berries are thawing, in a bowl I mix together the rest of the ingredients. Ground flax seeds and chia seeds for fat and fiber, Mesquite or Peruvian carb powder for a subtle sweetness. It's quite fibrous as well. Pumpkin seed protein powder for, well, protein. Use any preferred defatted nut to seed powder flour. I add a bit of cardamom too, because together with blueberries they significantly increase natural killer cell activity. Now adding any plant milk of preference. I vary between oat and soy milk. Pour in enough for desired consistency and add it gradually to be able to adjust. Soy yogurt will make it creamier and will add extra protein as well. Use any unsweetened plant yogurt you like, but remember that soy and nut-based ones have more fat and protein, whereas grain-based contain more sugars. Mix it all up. Looking so yummy already. Add more milk if necessary, in other words, adjust to your liking. And now the magic happens. By mixing in the blueberry puree, you'll get the most gorgeous color imaginable. You may disagree, of course, but that's me. Topping it off with some more healthy fats, alternating between pumpkin, sunflower, and hemp seeds. By the way, I soak and dehydrated pumpkin and sunflower seeds before consuming to make them easier to digest and the micronutrients more absorbable. On another note, you could also use an immersion blender or a regular one to process everything at once. Lately, I've been also adding baby spinach, parsley, and microgreens, blending them with thawed blueberries and plant milk first, and then adding the dry ingredients along with yogurt. It's a true bliss every morning after my walk. And last but not least, let's compile a truly wholesome breakfast Buddha bowl. Cook the buckwheat and edamame beans ahead. Make a bigger batch to last for at least for a few days, so that you can save time in the morning. I like to prepare my buckwheat or any other grains really with a bay leaf and some kombu seaweed. The former makes grains and legumes easier to digest, and the latter adds an extra nutritional boost in the form of iodine. And now it simply comes down to assembling the bowl, starting with cooked buckwheat for fiber and protein, edamame beans for fat, fiber, and protein, which by the way have a glycemic load so low that you wouldn't be able to eat enough to mess with your blood sugar. Miso tahini dressing, the recipe of which you'll find in the description. Next, shredded red cabbage and arugula for extra micronutrients. Mix it up or don't, it's up to you. I prefer it well combined. Of course, you're free to substitute buckwheat with any other grains like quinoa, sorghum, teff, brown rice, millet, barley, or even spelt berries. As it's wild garlic season, I throw in a dollop of my wild garlic pesto as well. And oh yes, I entirely forgot about avocado, the healthy fats of the meal. Everything we made today, besides the blueberry bowl, would also make an excellent brunch, lunch, or dinner. In fact, I like to have those sandwiches for lunch. And you can have a smaller berry bowl as dessert using any berries you like. Raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, and whatnot.